Until this next report, the abuse and neglect of unwanted children in China was rumored, but it was undocumented. No more.
Here we found toddlers tied to bamboo seats, with their legs splayed over makeshift potties.
All girls, of course, unless they are handicapped boys, but healthy boys is never abandoned, ever.
We wanted to see for ourselves that it really is only girls that are rejected. So we made a point of checking the gender of every baby we found. She's got 3 pieces of string down her body, across her chest, across the middle, and down by her feet. This is plastic, and then there's 2 layers of thick material, and it's sort of almost like a bodice around the body to keep it straight. And underneath it's sort of very constricted, very tight, and she's very wet inside. Another little girl.
The government's one-child policy dictates only the number of children a family may have. It says nothing about the preferred sex.
One-child policy tended to not take the Chinese traditional cultural some preferences into consideration. Some generally carry the family lines. So obviously the son is more important than the daughter.
Here to accept are the co-producers Kate Blewett and Brian Edwards in the highest tradition of the Peabodys.
Well, just before we came on, someone said don't be nervous. Wandering around China with a secret camera in a bag, going into orphanages, one of which happened to be just next door to a police station, was very nerve-wracking, but this is pretty nerve-wracking as well. We'd like to thank HBO very much for flying us over for this award. But more than that, we'd like to thank them very much for bringing this film to the American public. In particular, Sheila Evans, Nancy Abraham, Dave Baldwin and Joel Chanteloup at HBO. And we'd like to thank the Peabody Committee for this great honour. It really does feel amazing to be up here with these other superb films. It's a great shame, in a way, that we had to make this film. But it was necessary to prove the suffering of tens of thousands of orphans in China. And we're very lucky to work in a medium that can do that can bring that proof to the world. This film's now been shown in 32 countries around the world, and there's no doubt anymore that this is happening in China.
Just over a year or so ago, Brian and I came to New York to bring our proposal for the dining rooms in an attempt to bring the story to the people here in America. And the reception was slightly different to what we expected, and several broadcasters said to us, this is a very interesting story and a very tragic story, but it doesn't have the American angle. We need the American story here. So Brian and I dived off into our hotel coffee shop in an attempt to write in an American angle. With pencil and rubber, we spent hours thinking, how do we bring the American angle into our Chinese orphanages? I'm happy to say we failed, and we set back on the streets again with our proposal exactly as it was when we first arrived. And I'd like to thank HBO for being brave and taking us on board, and for bringing this very important subject about the abuse of the children in China to the people of America. And thank you to the Peabody Committee for recognizing the film as worthy and bringing Brian and I here today. We hope we can come back and make more documentaries to bring to America and its people. Thank you.